conversation with Khanak Chawla. Khanak, welcome to our BriPublish podcast for the youth series. And you have written a very wonderful book on your first book on poetry.
Yeah.
Apart from writing poetry, you're also a BBA student. So, can you share your journey, the insights about how you entered the writing world and what it has given to you?
So writing actually became my creative outlet as I grew up because since I was, I think, in fourth, that is when you start reading, right? So we used to have library periods, and it was the most fun I had in my school years. For me, the library was my second home. I used to go there. So from there, my love for literature it arose, and then when lockdown hit, it actually was a very weird phase for me because I started writing during that time. For me to combat my loneliness, I used to just write poems, and then after for pursuing my 11th and 12th, I went to a boarding school. So there too, writing just became my niche. I just started writing poems for presenting them in the assembly. I was the assembly in charge of my hostel. So I had to give material out every week. So it just kind of became my creative outlet.
Like you said, poems are very different format of writing. They are different
Yeah.
because there is a rhythm, it has to rhyme, there's a meter, there's a pacing, at which, with very little, you put less words, but the whole lot of drama can be, imagined.
Yeah.
Set very short verses. So tell me, as a writer, do you find writing poetry is easy or is it difficult? Or if even if you would like to tell us that how different it is to write, poetry than writing a story or a novel.
Yeah. Okay. So, in a story, you get to describe everything, but in a lot of words. You don't have any limitations to it. But in poetry, I like for me personally, it is a challenging thing to summarize a whole story and what I'm thinking and to put it into smaller voices. It holds a challenge, but it's very beautiful. It's a very beautiful process. And to see that I'm able to do that, I am very proud of myself for that. Well, and when I started, yes, it was very tough, but now it just kind of flows to me because I know what works best for me. So, yeah.
So, do you follow a particular time or time you when you writing every day? What is it that you do which really adds up to your creativity and the output in terms of having a book? So, I'm sure when you took this decision of writing all the poems that you had written or you had in your mind and put it into a shape of a book. So, how was that journey? Was it easy? Because you picked up not many topics and they are not usual, they are very
Yeah,
unusual topics.
I have, sorry for interrupting you. I just became very excited to talk about my book. Yeah.
So they are
So,
very unusual, things that you have put down as in terms of verses. So when I was going through it, I was thinking that writing this kind of a book or even trying out poems is more about perception, more about being observant, right? So how did you get to have so many different perceptions? Was it a year long process or what was the journey like?
so the whole process was actually, I would not say it was a year long. It was a 3 year long process for me because all the poems I have originally, the book had 100 poems, but then I cut it short and 49 or 51 poems I have now in the book. So, well, most of the book is comprised of the poems I wrote back in my hostel. And then after coming from the hostel, it has been a year now. I'm in my first year of college. So, I would not say that it was very tough for me to write the book, but what was tough for me to was to actually select the poems I wanted in the book, because a lot of poems were really personal to me, and so it was a bit of a difficult task. And the fact that I really wanted to share a lot of poems was a big thing for me, because you can ask any poet, and like their poetry is like their journal. So yeah.
So tell me, like, which I have seen the case of whenever I picked up a which was of poetry. There's a lot of personal, emotion which I think reflect in the writer's work. So, how do you feel when you are putting out something so precious of emotion or feeling that is so personal and precious to you in front of the world? Is it to do with a lot of courage, or how do you do it? Usually because people don't share, their personal stuff. So, but in your book also, when I was reading, I felt there were certain verses which showed so much of evolution in terms of. That's why I said, was it a year-long process? Because uh, there was so much of growth,
Yeah.
right? When I started reading through, when I reached the middle part of your book, there's so much growth in your writing. So how do you do it? What what makes you? What kind of inspires you? Or do you ever feel blocked? Or do you ever feel when you have these emotions? No, I can't share this stuff. How do you deal with these kind of writing blocks?
So, what motivates me to write is definitely my mom. She is my cheerleader. She was the one who actually motivated me to write the book. At first, I did not really want to, but then my mom and of course my friends too. They were like, "You have to write this. You have to write this." And even I have a whole bucket list. So it was on my bucket list. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll do it. At least I'll get to, tick one thing off of my bucket list. So yeah. And then, was it a difficult task? Yes, it's a difficult task to put something out very personal out in the open for the world to read. But as a poet, I really wanted a recognition too. Okay, I wanted to, publicize it that yes, I can write nice poems, because at times I have been questioned and I've been made feel like I wasn't a good poet. So that was also one factor when I was like, I have to do this.
Great, great. So, we kind of wish that your creative art of writing become more beautiful day by day. Tell me one thing that when you ordered your first book, right, what was the feedback? Did you give it to people to read? What was your innermost feeling?
I was crying with happiness. I was scared to like, is it just how I imagined it to be? Is it like I could not believe that yes, I have my own book out now. So when I first got it, I was very joyous. I think my mother was crying. I was crying. And my father, he was really proud.
So thank you, Hannah, for this beautiful, conversation we had. I'm very, very glad that you could share about your book, your personal journey as a writer. And I wish you all the luck for your, coming writing works also. On this particular note, I'm going to wrap up today's podcast. And I wish you all luck and great journey ahead. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
ma'am. Thank you.